Hey guys, and welcome back to another bullet journal video. Today I thought I would talk to you about my bullet journaling process so far and show you guys the journal that I'm going to be using for 2017. But before I get into that, I just wanted to mention that my dogs are running around, so if you hear random noises, that's what that is. Now, I've previously done a video on this bullet journal, which was my second ever bullet journal, and I will link that video for you guys in the cards because obviously I will not be going over this a lot in this video, but it's kind of the journal in which I figured out the style of bullet journaling that works for me. This one's just a standard Moleskine with the hardcover. It has graph paper inside, which I found very, very useful for doing things like, habit trackers or big monthly spreads like this. And again, you can check out the video that I did on this one if you would like to see how I set this bad boy up. Now, I moved into this one in July of 2016 and I was able to use it through December with no problem. I have actually a bunch of unused paper here, but I was just really tired of being halfway through the year and having to switch journals. So I basically decided to put this one aside. I'm using the extra pages to record quotes from my reading, and I treated myself to this fancy Leuchtturm. Is that how you pronounce it? This one is, again, I believe an A5 size. It's got hardcover in black, which is just kind of standard me. It does come in a bunch of other colors if you're really excited about having a bright journal, maybe if you're worried about losing it. But for me, I just prefer something nice and simple in black, and then I will be decorating it with stickers, I promise you. So this one is pretty similar to the Moleskine. It has, again, your name and address area, which of course I have covered up. And the big difference here is that the Leuchtturms are already paginated and they come with a built-in table of contents. So as you can see, I've already started filling out my table of contents. They give you 3 pages for that, and then I personally have kept my key right over here. Then something that comes in the kind of standard bullet journal setup is the idea of a future log in which you can record future events, and I've kind of taken that and expanded on it, I guess. So I have all of 2017 here with these little calendars, and what I've done basically is I've circled the date in which something is happening, and then I've written out both the date and the event over on the side. Mainly right now I'm just using this for birthdays because I suck at remembering birthdays, but I do have the whole year here. And in case you were wondering, this paper is not checkered necessarily, but it has the little grid dots, which again is very helpful. Then I have my big tasks here for 2017. I decided not to do resolutions this year because I felt like that wasn't enough of a push for me. So I wanted to make them tasks because then I feel like I will actually work more towards achieving them. So I have financial tasks, career tasks, and personal tasks. And then over here, I kept my savings goals from my last bullet journal and then added the student loan section because I do have quite a bit of student loans that I'm still working on paying off. So eventually I will start to fill these in as I make more progress. Then I have, of course, my income tracker, which I had in my last bullet journal facing this way, and I just found that halfway through the year I had to duplicate it on this side of the page. So this year I was a little bit smarter and tried to do it horizontally here. Again, I've blocked out some of the important information, but I've got my date, who I'm working for, the task, then the payment, and then the monthly total. And I really like so far how this is long-wise, and I'm looking forward to continuing to fill it up. Then we move over here. I kept my gas and mileage tracker because, again, I have a relatively new car and I like having a written out log. I tried to keep a log on my phone for a bit and that just wasn't working for me, so I'm keeping a written log here. And then over here I have my blog and YouTube goals. Now, honestly, I probably could have left this out because I haven't really stuck to these goals so much. Even when I made my 2017 goals and resolutions video, I didn't really end up pulling from these too much, and I've actually added and edited a few things here. But it's just kind of, I guess, a nice little segment breaker to go from more financial stuff to more personal goals. Then I have my Read Your Own Damn Books challenge, where I have basically just listed out all of the books that I owned as of January 2017 that I had not read. So this includes paperbacks, audiobooks, and ebooks, and I've just literally listed 1 through 137. So I have as you can see here, I've read 2 of those already, so I'm already starting to make progress, even though it is small. And by the end of the year, I would love to see more of this page, maybe not all of it, but more of this page filled in. Then next to that, I have the 2 kind of rough TBRs that I will be trying to read off of this year, as well as the Our Mutual Friend read-along dates, which are now totally superfluous because I am so very far behind. Then over here we have my 50 book Goodreads challenge, which I always love filling in. I'm a real sucker for some kind of visual way to demonstrate progress. That's probably why I like updating my reading progress on Goodreads so much. You know, status bars are so helpful for me. So that is why that is there. And then over here we start getting into my monthly spreads. To start off my January spread, I was lucky enough to have a blank page here, so I decided to go ahead and make that a quote page for the month, in which I featured a Rogue One quote, because let's be honest, that was an amazing, amazing film. So obviously rebellions are built on hope, and then around me it says, I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Then we get into my January spread, and this is a little bit different than what I had going on in the old bullet journal, in that I'm doing these little individual daily squares, which I'm really liking aesthetically. Practically, it's not the most practical thing. It's not very efficient because it does take quite a bit of time to do each individual square, but so far I'm really liking the way it works out. It just spatially fits really nicely on the page, and I love that so far. And I have changed my January goals or my monthly goals to tasks because, again, just the word task makes me more likely to accomplish them for whatever reason. Then we get into my monthly content section. So I've got my videos and my posts, just kind of ideas for things that I would like to get done in the month. Over here, I've got my TBR, and for April Magazine, I've got some monthly tasks that I have laid out here. And then because Diversathon was in January, I just stuck my little TBR here on a sticky note. Then again, I have a habit tracker, which is mainly tracking the same habits from my last bullet journal. As you can see, I didn't do super great with any of my habits in January. I did a lot of writing in the beginning and then a lot of reading towards the end, but everything else was kind of just here and there. And so I'm really hoping that over the course of the year, I can look back on these each month and see, oh, look how much progress I'm making in different areas. Then from there we get into my monthly bills and expenses, and of course I've blocked off some information here, but again I'm listing my income, my bills, my expenses, and breaking them down by category just like I did in my old bullet journal. And then the big thing that was different here in January is that I attempted a no spend January challenge. Now this is just something I made up. I didn't really find a specific savings challenge out there that I liked, so I made this one up for myself. Basically, I was allowed to spend money on food, gas, subscription fees because I didn't want the hassle of having to go pause or cancel my subscriptions, and then any work-related purchases. And what I did here was basically color in the days in which I managed to not spend anything for personal reasons. Obviously, I didn't really succeed at this no spend challenge because you can see that I did end up spending money quite a few days in the month, but I didn't realize that they would be so connected to the inauguration. So for example, I ended up buying a bunch of books on the day of the inauguration and after, and then I ended up donating to the We the People campaign run by Obey, as well as to the ACLU, and ended up supporting my local Girl Scout troop and things like that. So those were unforeseen expenditures that I really don't mind having spent money on. So it was just really interesting though to see like when in the month I ended up spending money and what were the circumstances leading up to that spending. Then we have my winter TBR over here, which as you can see I'm not making a ton of progress on, mainly because I've been craving other books at the moment. But then after that we get into my weekly spreads. Now these are both similar and different than the old spreads I was doing in my old journal, mainly because I still have the week designation and I still have like the few really important things I need to do that week, and I still, you know, just designate each day, but they're definitely more simplified, even more simplified. Basically, I don't even leave any space between the weeks or anything. I'm just kind of doing a long running list, and I'm really liking that so far. It's working for me so far, and yeah, I don't know, I like how it works. It's really, really simple and it's just practical for me, which is of course what I want my bullet journal to be. Then we get into February. Over here, again, I had another quote page, and because I'm obsessed with Trevor Noah at the moment, I have a few amazing quotes from him. Specifically, when you give, you have more room to get. And when people say you can't change the world, no, just change your world. And that's kind of what I'm living by at the moment. And then again, we get into February. Very similar spread. We have again some content, goals, we have my habit tracker, we have expenses, and again we have my weekly spreads. And as you can see, I'm not super consistent about how I designate the weeks, and I think that'll continue to change as the bullet journal goes on, excuse me. Just, you know, to keep things interesting, and who knows, maybe I will end up changing completely how I do weeks as the year goes on, but for now, that is what is going on. So that is what's been working for me so far, and I'm still using the exact same materials as I was using in my last bullet journal video. I'm still using one of those multicolor pens for my daily tasks. I'm using a Sharpie pen for everything that is black, and then I'm using my Staedtler Tri-Plus color markers for all of the color. So yeah, it's again pretty similar to my old bullet journal. I just thought it would be fun to give you guys an update and show you what I've changed, what I'm keeping, and oh, that actually reminds me, I am keeping a spending map for February, but it's different than January's. In January, I was specifically trying not to spend money, and in February, I'm just really interested in noting when I'm spending money, so that I can, again, go back and see what I had going on, go back and look at my Hobonichi and see what my feelings were that day. I think it'll be really interesting to see at the end of the month, and yeah, so far I'm doing pretty well. All of these colored bits are no spending. So hopefully that was interesting for you guys. If you have any specific bullet journal questions, or you would like me to make another video focusing on something more specific, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, that is all I have to share with you guys today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Happy journaling if you are a bullet journaler as well, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!